In 2024, the biggest games fought for attention with massive open worlds, photorealistic graphics, and Hollywood-level narratives. Yet, somehow, a tiny robot standing barely inches tall conquered them all. How did Astro Bot, a character that began as a simple tech demo, outshine gaming's biggest franchises to become Game of the Year? The answer lies in moments of pure magic that remind us why we fell in love with games in the first place. Let's take a step back and appreciate the journey. Astro wasn't born a superstar. He started as a humble tech demo character showing off PlayStation hardware features. From the Playroom to Astro's Playroom, the little robot was charming but seemed destined to remain in the shadows of PlayStation's bigger franchises. But Team Asobi had bigger plans. When the first trailer dropped during the May 2024 State of Play, something felt different. This wasn't just another cute platformer. There was an ambition, a confidence that suggested something special was brewing. Now, with 90 levels across 6 galaxies, Astro was no longer just demonstrating the controller, he was starring in his own full-fledged adventure. And it all begins the moment you take control. When you hear the crunch of sand through your DualSense speaker and feel the subtle vibration of each footstep in your palms, it's subtle, but it immediately establishes something crucial. In this game, your controller isn't just an input device, it's a window into Astro's world. No game has leveraged the DualSense's capabilities quite like this. When raindrops begin to fall on the Archipelago levels, you don't just see the water, you feel each droplet tickling your palms through the haptic feedback. When you squeeze water from a sponge in the Japanese bathhouse-inspired level, the adaptive triggers provide resistance that perfectly mimic the sensation. It's not a gimmick, it's a fundamental reimagining of how games can engage our senses. But the true magic happens in Construction Derby, when Astro wades through a pile of metal bolts. The resulting clatter from your controller speaker creates this deeply satisfying ASMR-like experience that's just so good, you'll find yourself running back and forth just to hear it again. It's in these moments that Astro Bot transcends traditional gaming to become almost synesthetic, a blend of sight, sound, and touch that creates something greater than the sum of its parts. Even navigating between planets becomes a sensory experience as you physically tilt the DualSense to steer your dual speeder across the cosmos. Your whole body naturally leans and turns, creating this unconscious physical connection to the game world that few other titles have achieved. But as impressive as these tactile innovations are, Team Asobi understood that engaging players requires far more than just touch. It needs rhythm, personality, and a healthy dose of musical charm. And if there's one moment that perfectly encapsulates Astro Bot's infectious charm, it's the singing tree in Trunk of Funk. As you approach this massive bopping plant, it serenades you with an invitation. Jump up into my mouth! Delivered with such infectious enthusiasm that it's impossible not to grin. What makes this sequence so special is just how everything in the environment moves in perfect rhythm. Plants bop along to the beat, platforms pulse with the music, and if you leave Astro standing still, even he can't help but break into a giddy little dance. The world feels alive, responsive, and unified by this musical heartbeat. The singing tree becomes a touchstone that colors your entire perception of the game. Hours later, you might find yourself still humming that catchy tune, the earworm serving as a reminder of just how effortlessly Astro Bot burrows into your heart. The musical joy of Trunk of Funk represents something far deeper about Astro Bot's design philosophy, a game that encourages you to slow down and simply play. Because sometimes the most memorable moments come from simply playing in the truest sense of the word, experimenting and delighting in the unexpected. Take the GoGo Archipelago level. When you first arrive on its sandy beach, your immediate instinct is to greet the family of turtles swimming peacefully in the shallows. There's no prompt telling you to do this, it's just a natural reaction to the charming scene. But Astro Bot rewards your curiosity. Yes, you absolutely can surf on these turtles, and you seem just as delighted by it as Astro is. This discovery leads to more experimentation. What about those dolphins holding hoops? Can you jump through them? Of course you can. It's these moments of discovery that permeate every level. They're not necessary for progression, but they create small pockets of joy that make the world feel responsive and alive. When you punch a VIP bot and watch it perform a character-specific animation, like Ratchet dropping all of his bolts and scrambling to pick them up, you're rewarded not with power-ups or collectibles, but with pure undiluted charm. This spirit of playful experimentation extends beyond just environmental interactions to something far more ambitious. reinventing PlayStation's greatest icons through Astro's cheerful lens. In less capable hands, Astro Bot's PlayStation cameos could have felt like corporate-mandated fan service, but Team Asobi approaches these moments with such genuine love and creativity that they become something far more meaningful. I mean, the moment you pick up Kratos' Leviathan axe is nothing short of magical. The weight of the weapon feels perfect thanks to the adaptive triggers, and the satisfying thud as it returns after being thrown captures the essence of the original experience. But it's not simply mimicking God of War, it's translating that experience into Astro's language, creating something that feels both familiar, yet entirely new. What makes these cameo levels so special is their understanding of what made the original game so iconic. The Uncharted level doesn't just have you climbing and shooting, it captures the sense of adventure and discovery that defines Nathan Drake's journey. The Horizon section isn't just about fighting machines, it's about the wonder of exploring a vast, beautiful world filled with mechanical life. But perhaps the most charming aspect is the juxtaposition of these characters against unexpected backdrops. Finding Metal Gear Solid's Solid Snake in the sugar-coated landscape of Creamy Canyon creates this wonderful cognitive dissonance that somehow works perfectly. It's respectful to the source material while still being playful, the gaming equivalent of seeing your stern history teacher at a water park. Nowhere is this fusion of PlayStation legacy and innovative design more apparent than in the game's unforgettable boss encounters. Boss fights and platformers often feel disconnected from the levels that precede them, but Astro Bot's first major boss encounter with Mighty Chewy rewrites this formula in spectacular fashion. As you progress through the neon-drenched cityscape of Gorilla La La Land, you catch glimpses of this massive gorilla rampaging in the distance. He's not waiting at the end of the level though, he's actively shaping it as you move through it. When his giant fists smash into rooftops, they create new platforms for you to traverse. When he leaps between buildings, he changes your path forward, and by the time you reach the final rooftop confrontation, it feels like a natural culmination of everything that came before. You've been in a dance with this boss for the entire level, learning his patterns and behaviors organically. The fight itself becomes a test of everything you've learned, using your bulldog dash to break through walls, dodging his attacks with precision jumps, and using the environment to your advantage. What makes this encounter so memorable isn't just its spectacle, it's how seamlessly it blends tutorial, level design, and boss fight into one cohesive experience. You're not just fighting a boss, you're navigating a living, changing environment that happens to be shaped by your adversary. Now, while the main path moments showcase Team Asobi's creativity, some of Astro Bot's most magical experiences are hidden far from the beaten path. The first time you discover a warp point hidden in the environment, there's a thrill that goes beyond simply finding a collectible. These portals transport you to the Lost Galaxy, a constellation of secret levels that often contain some of the game's most creative and concentrated experiences. What makes these hidden worlds so special is how they distill a single mechanic to its essence. A level focused entirely on the illuminating light bulbs that reveal hidden platforms become a mind-bending puzzle of perception. A stage built around the twin frog gloves transforms into a grappling hook playground that would make Spider-Man jealous. The Lost Galaxy also houses some of Astro Bot's most obscure PlayStation references. While the main campaign features very recognizable faces from God of War and Horizon, these secret levels hide deeper cuts. Wild Arms characters, jumping Flash references, even nods to cult classics like Mr. Mosquito. These secret worlds aren't just about exploration, they're also about pushing your platforming skills to their absolute limits. In an era where games often struggle to balance accessibility with challenge, Astro Bot performs a masterful tightrope walk. Its main campaign is approachable for anyone, but hidden beneath the surface are challenges that will make even hardened platforming veterans sweat. The button-themed challenge levels floating in space represent the pinnacle of this philosophy. With no checkpoints and increasingly devious obstacle courses, these challenges demand nothing less than perfection. A single misstep sends you back to the beginning, forcing you to master every jump, dodge, and ability with absolute precision. What makes these challenges so satisfying though isn't just their difficulty, it's how fair they feel. Even when you fail repeatedly, you never feel cheated. You simply know that you need to execute better next time. The game has taught you all the skills you need. Now it's just a matter of applying them flawlessly. The Great Master Challenge, unlocked only after collecting every puzzle piece and 300 bots, takes this to another level entirely. This gauntlet represents the absolute pinnacle of Astro Bot's design, a relentless series of challenges that tests every skill, every reflex, and every lesson the game has taught you. What makes overcoming these challenges so satisfying though isn't just the personal achievement, it's seeing how each victory contributes to something greater. In most games, collectibles feel like arbitrary checkboxes, but Astro Bot transforms this formula by making each rescued bot a meaningful addition to your growing community. As you return to the crash site hub with your newly rescued bots, you witness something magical: the desert planet slowly transforming into a thriving society. Bots building ladders to repair the mothership, training for combat, or simply enjoying their new home create this sense that your actions are having a tangible impact on this world. This becomes even more meaningful when you unlock new areas of the hub by collecting enough bots. Instead of arbitrary number requirements, you can literally see why you need 100 bots. They physically form bridges and pathways to new areas, working together to help you reach new heights. It's a visual representation of progress that feels infinitely more satisfying than watching a percentage tick up. The VIP bots add yet another layer to this growing community, with each PlayStation character bringing their unique personality to the crash site. The gacha machine mechanic transforms your collected coins into tangible rewards, items that these characters can interact with in charming, character-appropriate ways. The Safari Park takes this even further, creating a peaceful sanctuary where you can interact with all the robotic animals that you've encountered. It's a space with no objectives or challenges, just the simple joy of playing with turtles, polar bears, and elephants in their miniature habitats. As your crash site community grows, so does the variety of Astro's adventures, with each new world introducing mechanics that could sustain entire games on their own. Among Astro Bot's most ingenious levels is the Slow-Mo Casino, a time-bending marvel that demonstrates just how creative Team Asobi can be. As you enter this glittering palace of probability, you're immediately struck by its visual splendor. Chips floating in midair, cards suspended in time, and roulette wheels frozen between spins. But it's when you acquire the slow-mo watch that the true magic happens. With a press of a button, you can manipulate time itself, creating windows of opportunity that would otherwise be impossible. Slowing down a spinning roulette wheel creates platforms to cross. Freezing a fountain of poker chips mid-spray transforms them into stepping stones across otherwise impossible gaps. And not to mention, the anthropomorphic playing card enemies are particularly inspired, their attacks forcing you to jump on the frozen projectiles to make your way towards them for a final blow. It is the perfect synthesis of offensive and defensive gameplay, all wrapped in the time manipulation mechanic. Most games would build their entire identity around a mechanic this strong, but Astro Bot is so confident in its creativity that it introduces this mind-bending concept, lets you enjoy it thoroughly, and then moves on to something completely different. These creative mechanics build to a crescendo as Astro's adventure nears its conclusion, transforming what began as a simple collection quest into something with genuine emotional weight. As Astro Bot builds towards its climactic confrontation with space bully Nebulax, something remarkable happens. What began as a simple mission to recover ship parts and rescue crew members transforms into something with genuine emotional stakes. The Play Squadron sequence, where you and your rescued crew members board ships shaped like classic PlayStation hardware to take the fight to Nebulax, feels like the perfect culmination of your journey. These aren't just random bots anymore. They're friends that you've rescued, companions who you've watched rebuild their home, now standing alongside you for the final battle. When Nebulax grabs Astro and attempts to drag him into the black hole, the crew's desperate attempt to save their captain creates a moment of surprising emotional weight. Astro's decision to let go rather than risk his friends creates this perfect character beat, a selfless act that reinforces why this little robot deserves to be PlayStation's mascot. The fake-out ending that follows, where sad credits begin to roll before being interrupted by Astro's return, plays with our expectations in a way that feels earned rather than manipulative. We've become so invested in this little robot's journey that the thought of losing him genuinely hurts, making his return all the more satisfying. What makes this sequence work, though, is how it builds on everything that came before. The mothership isn't just a hub world anymore, it's a home worth fighting for. The crew members aren't just collectibles, they're characters that we have watched build ladders, train for combat, and transform a desert crash site into a thriving community. By the time the real credits roll, with a revived Astro celebrating alongside his friends, it feels like a genuine victory rather than just the end of a game. But what do you think? Which moment in Astro Bot left the biggest impression on you? Let me know down in the comment section below, and if you haven't played the game yet, I hope this video has given you a glimpse of why it deserves every Game of the Year award that it's winning. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth gaming analysis. And remember, sometimes the biggest gaming experiences come in the smallest packages.